the connection between the coronavirus, the presidential election, and your 401k? It's all about the stock market. Let's connect the dots. Stocks surged Monday, pushed by an excited and confident set of investors. Pfizer's revelation about a potentially effective COVID-19 vaccine felt like the light at the end of the tunnel for many market watchers after months of bad financial news. It sent a variety of stocks surging, including airline stocks. Investors see a viable vaccine as the key to the travel industry returning to normal. And while analysts wait and hope for an end to the pandemic, experts also think that a new president could lead to longer-term political stability, and that's good news for markets. Many analysts are pointing to a possible Biden bounce, with not only an end to the election instability, but also expectations of a more diplomatic approach to U.S. foreign policy. And that's good news to many people watching America's markets. Connecting the dots, I'm Katie Jeffries for First Coast News.